For more than 100 years, the movie theater was, well, it was king. But in the last decade, a massive challenger popped up, streaming right into our living rooms and creating a real battle for the survival of the big screen. So, how does a giant fight back? Let's dive into this story of disruption and survival.
All right, let's just start with a really stark number. In 2023, the global box office was still down a staggering 39% from where it was before the pandemic. That's billions of dollars just gone. And that tells you right away this isn't just some temporary blip. The whole landscape has completely shifted under our feet.
And that, of course, leads to the massive question everyone's asking. Is that whole experience of going to the movies, the big screen, the shared audience, is that just a thing of the past? Well, hang on, because the answer's way more complicated and honestly way more interesting than you might think.
Okay, so to even start answering that, we've got to look at the force that's causing all this pressure in the first place. The streaming tsunami. It really is a tale of two screens.
And what's just nuts is the speed of it all. I mean, just look at this chart. In less than 10 years, folks, global streaming subscriptions went from 400 million to over 1.8 billion. That's billion with a B. That's not just a shift, that's a revolution in how we watch stuff. And it happened in what feels like the blink of an eye.
And this isn't just about new tech. It's a full-on generational thing. The data shows that a whopping 81% of younger people, we're talking 18 to 34, they actually prefer streaming. This isn't just a phase, you guys. This is a deep, fundamental change in habits. And think about it, as this generation grows up and becomes the core market, their habits are going to reshape the entire entertainment world.
And if you want the cold, hard math, here it is. This number, negative 0.78, basically puts it all in black and white. For all you stats nerds out there, that's a really strong negative correlation. But what does that actually mean? It's simple. When streaming subscriptions shoot up, cinema attendance goes down. It's an inverse relationship, clear as day.
Okay, so all these numbers and charts are great, but what does this tsunami actually look like on the ground? Well, for a really amazing case study, let's head over to India and look at the multiplex giant PVR INX. Let's see how they're handling this storm.
And wow, this quote from their own report, it really tells you everything. They're making some incredibly tough calls. They're talking about shutting down 60 to 70 screens, not building, but closing. This isn't a story about growth anymore. For a lot of these places, it's about making a strategic retreat just to survive.
But wait, here's where it gets really interesting. It's not like every single movie is getting hammered equally. Look at this. The huge blockbuster franchises? Yeah, they're down, but they're holding on. But the mid-budget dramas? A jaw-dropping 67% collapse. They've been decimated. So what does that tell us? It suggests the whole purpose of the cinema is changing. It's not for just any movie anymore. It's becoming the place for a massive event.
So faced with this new reality, PVR INOX could have just thrown in the towel, but they didn't. Instead, they built this incredible turnaround plan, a plan that honestly could be the playbook for theaters all over the world. Their whole strategy basically boils down to these four pillars. First, they're getting super lean financially, cutting debt, getting a tight grip on their costs. But the last 2 points, that's where the magic is. A totally new asset-light way to grow, and a complete reinvention of what it means to go to the movies.
So, you're probably asking, what the heck is an asset-light model? Well, in simple terms, they stop owning the giant, expensive buildings themselves. They get developers to build the properties, and then they come in and run the cinema. It's genius. For an industry that has always been weighed down by these huge real estate costs, this is a total game changer. What's the payoff? Way less risk, more cash on hand, and the freedom to be smarter and more strategic about where they open next.
And this new way of thinking, it's basically the core of their new survival playbook. This is how you compete when everyone has Netflix in their pocket. You can really boil the whole thing down to 3 key steps. Step 1, rationalize. Be ruthless. Cut the theaters that are losing money. Stop the bleeding. Step 2, rebuild smart. Use that asset-light model for most of your news screens. That can slash the cost of building a new cinema by up to 60%. That's huge. And finally, step 3, reimagine. This is all about focusing on what streaming can't do. We're talking premium screens, amazing sound, and really, really good food and drinks.
And check this out. Their growth plan isn't just throwing darts at a map. They're putting a massive 40% of their new screens in South India. So why there? Because it's a place that is absolutely bonkers for movies, with its own huge local film industry. But, and here's the key, it hasn't had as many modern theaters. It's a perfect business move. Go where the demand is huge and the supply is low.
Okay, this next stat might be the most important one we'll talk about. Get this. A full 1/3 of their total revenue isn't from tickets. It's from popcorn, drinks, and food. A third. The whole business model is changing right before our eyes. They're not just selling you a movie anymore. They're selling you a whole night out.
So, where does this all leave us? What does the future look like? It feels like we're moving past that all-out war between the big screen and the small screen and into a new phase.
And this number, 8 weeks, is kind of like the peace treaty. After years of bickering, the industry has pretty much landed on this. New movies get an exclusive 8-week run in theaters. This gives the cinemas a protected zone, a chance to make their money before the movie pops up on your favorite streaming service. It's all about finding a balance.
And I love this quote from one of the executives at PVR INOX. It just nails the new reality. He says, it's like eating in versus eating out. Streaming is your kitchen at home. It's convenient. It's there every day. The cinema, that's the fancy restaurant you go to for a special night out. They're not really competing for the same meal anymore. They serve totally different needs.
Which brings us to this final big idea to leave you with. Maybe the big screen isn't dying. Maybe it's just evolving. It's changing from the place you go to see any old movie into this special destination you choose for the movie, the big one. And you know what? That big shift might just be the very thing that saves it.